Alright, let's talk some Malik Willis. I already had the idea of making this video before the game even happened, so, not a ton to talk about with Willis, not a ton of different things. I still think there's, some interesting stuff here to bring up. I thought that he, as a whole, I don't think this was a great performance from him, but he also didn't play that much. I was very much looking forward to seeing him get some NFL action. We didn't get to see a ton, but we got to see some, so let's talk about what we thought about it. Alright, let's start off with this play. So what's going to happen here is, this is the interception, that would happen at 12 minutes and 2 seconds left in the second quarter. I believe this is man coverage. They're kind of selling as though it's zone, but I believe it's actually man, but really watch what happens. Willis is going to take the snap, run the play action on the wrong way, by the way. He fakes the handoff to the other side, so already a little clunky there. And you see, yes, this is the best screenshot I could take here, unfortunately. The best still frame I could get. Not a, work with what I have, right? Not exactly, high definition, figuring out exactly what we're looking at, but doing my best. But what you can kind of make out with the two blurry figures on the screen is that the Houston Texan player is able to undercut this route a little bit, which, leads me to believe there was not very much separation, kind of taking a risk here when he really didn't have to on a 1st down and 10. It ends up as an interception, which is never ideal. Again, this is, I think, actually maybe not the worst thing in the world, because one of Willis's issues coming out of college was he wouldn't take that chance. He wouldn't fire the ball that had a small window to get through. Well, this time he fires one that he probably shouldn't have. It gets intercepted. So, okay, especially when you're kind of, in a situation where the team's really not having you throw the ball that much, it's going to not really look that great. Sure, that's fair, but it is still just one play. I'm not going to completely freak out over one play. Although, it was not just one play that he had that was -1. This was a tough one. This was probably the worst one of the two, I would say, because it's going to be a zone coverage play. But what's going to be really interesting here is because of the play action, and Houston is ready for a run. I mean, one of the big advantages that Willis has being a rookie playing in his first game, because, again, really difficult situation for him to jump in at, right? I mean, he has to basically come in. I know he got some first-team reps late in the week, but still, I mean, this is a tough situation trying to come in with little first-team reps here, but at least you get Derrick Henry. Guys are going to be paying attention to Derrick Henry. It could set up situations like what you're about to see. Look, as you see, Willis runs the play action, and it just works out perfectly. You got a receiver wide open. There's no corner deep here. There's a safety deep over the middle, but that's the only player deep that could make a tackle if Willis makes this throw, and this is wide open. I mean, this is a dream scenario and could easily be a passing touchdown. However, as you see, it's just, a bit outside the reach of the, outstretched arms of his receiver, and that's just a tough play. There's no getting around it. That's a tough play and definitely a negative one. Again, it's hard, right? Because it was a small sample size this game. So getting on him too much for a couple bad plays feels wrong, because bad plays do happen. At the same time, though, we just didn't get to see that much of him. So, when there's a small sample size and there wasn't a ton of positives and maybe there were some significant negatives, well then, yeah, it does kind of make sense to harp on the negatives a little bit and take more into consideration, but it still is a small sample size. You do have to pay attention to that. You also have something like this, so what's going to happen here, let's talk about him as a runner for a second. Really, I thought that Houston was prepared for him to run with the football. That's kind of something that they clearly had a mindset of, hey, there's a good chance they're going to be running the ball a lot in this game. They're probably going to be running with Malik Willis a decent chunk throughout this game. So let's just be prepared. A play you see on the screen is, it's an option play, but I do wonder if there was actually an option here or if this is a design quarterback keeper all the way. I don't know, because again, teams do it differently, and there's really no way to know for sure what it is unless you're in the huddle, if it's, if they actually give him the option to hand the ball off or if this is a design quarterback run from the start. But look at how when this play begins, you do see that at this point, it's that edge player who, I had circled him away earlier to highlight him because that's the player who typically is going to be the main guy on a play like this. The contained guy on the outside is typically the guy because your hope, if you're going to keep it as a quarterback, is that he rushes too far in over the middle of the field, defending the handoff, so then you can get out to the outside of where he's at and pick up some yards that way. That's the hope. That defender for Houston is Desmond King, who is a cornerback who, again, you can see he's playing this well. He's aware that this could be potential, it could be a quarterback run. So he is definitely being very aware here. So when Willis does step in, I mean, he's all over it and doesn't actually make the tackle, but made the play there. Willis still picked up a yard. I thought Willis actually did everything he could on a play like that. There wasn't that much that he was going to be able to do in a situation like that. So again, it is kind of a difficult game to fully evaluate how he played, just because there were situations like this where it's like, I guess he did the right thing. I guess he got the most amount of yards possible out of that play, but there just wasn't that many yards to generate there. I saw a little bit of some minor flashes, like something like this, where this is actually a really clever play concept. I don't know if I've seen this before. It doesn't seem that fancy, but it's just kind of an average play with a slight twist, where it's going to, what are the Houston Texans expecting right here? 3rd down and goal in a 4-point game. They're thinking, all right, probably going to be, putting the ball in Derrick Henry's hands. That's what most coaches would do in this situation. So, Tennessee, I think smartly saying, if that's what everyone's going to expect us to do, let's try and, do something different. So that way we have a better chance of converting this play here. So, I think the next option that you would think would be maybe a play action, or maybe Malik Willis just runs himself. And if Malik Willis just runs himself, you can have Derrick Henry run out and block for him. So that gives you an extra blocker if Willis does decide to run. But they're going to do something like this, where they're going to still have Derrick Henry run out and block, but with the play action. So they have him run the play action first, and then Malik Willis is going to get to the outside. Kind of clever. Again, you will see this, sort of what we saw last play of kind of faking a handoff, but then running a different way. But usually on that situation, the halfback isn't then going out and blocking somebody. They're just simply, all their purpose is to try and help sell the fake on that play. However, watch as Willis is going to eventually start to run. And at this point, it looks like he's in trouble, right? It looks like this is a tough situation and maybe a bad situation. You have a defender closely approaching him. This could be a loss of a couple yards, and if it is, it's not the end of the world, but you would have to kick a field goal then. However, instead, watch Willis get by him. Willis nearly got the edge and got into the end zone. He didn't. He was not able to get into the end zone for a touchdown, but what he was able to do was set up a 4th down and 1, which the Titans then would go on to get into the end zone on the next play with a Derrick Henry rushing touchdown. So, hey, little small things. That's nice to see. He wasn't given a big, lot to do, but he was at least able to make some stuff happen. So yeah, that's kind of what I thought about his performance. As a whole, I don't know how much to take away from this. I really don't. There's some takeaways. I guess my takeaway is that, he missed a couple throws, and you could argue the coaching staff doesn't trust him, but I think the coaching staff, it's totally just like, listen, the guy had a couple of days working with first team, working with the first team, and look at how well our running game was. Let's just run the ball all the time, which is probably the right move. So that's kind of how I view it. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.